Today, we're diving into two incredibly powerful states that pretty much define our modern work lives. We're talking about burnout, that feeling of being completely and utterly drained, and its total opposite, flow. That incredible feeling of being in the zone.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten to the end of a workday and just felt hollowed out, like you have absolutely nothing left in the tank? It's a feeling a lot of us are familiar with, and it's actually the first warning sign of a much, much bigger problem.
So, to kick things off, let's get a really clear picture of what we're up against. What exactly is burnout, and why does it feel like it's just everywhere these days?
Now, this isn't just about feeling a little tired after a long week. The World Health Organization is super specific about this. They say burnout has three key parts. First, there's the obvious one, total exhaustion. Second, you start to feel this mental distance from your job, almost like you're cynical or detached. And third, you feel like you're just not effective anymore. That sense that you're spinning your wheels and not getting things done.
And just to give you an idea of how big this is, a 2022 survey of public sector workers in New South Wales, Australia, found that a whopping 38% of them felt burned out. Think about that. That's more than 1 out of every 3 people.
But here's where it gets even more alarming. That 38% is just the people who are already burned out. If you add in the 28% who are on the fence, the ones who are at risk, you're looking at nearly 2/3 of the entire workforce who are either burning out or are right on the edge.
And the fallout from this is, well, it's huge. Folks who are burnt out are way more likely to call in sick. They're almost 3 times as likely to be looking for a new job. And it hits their health too. We're talking more trips to the emergency room, and on top of all that, it just crushes their confidence in their own abilities.
Okay, so if we want to fight this thing, we have to understand its roots. What's actually fanning the flames here? What are the real workplace factors that push us into this state of exhaustion?
Well, a researcher named Christina Maslock pinpointed 6 key drivers. And spoiler alert, it's not just about having a crazy workload, though that's a big one. It's also about feeling a lack of control over your work, not getting enough reward for your efforts, a breakdown in your work community, a deep sense of unfairness, and a mismatch between your personal and company values. Get a few of those out of whack, and you've got a recipe for burnout.
All right, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about the antidote. We're going to flip the script and talk about burnout's polar opposite, that amazing, productive, and deeply satisfying state we call flow.
The term actually comes from the psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He was studying artists and creatives who would get so absorbed in what they were doing that they'd literally forget to eat or sleep. And when he asked them to describe the feeling, they kept using these metaphors about being carried by a current, like they were in a state of, well, flow.
So what is it? Flow is that peak state where you're so into an activity that everything else just melts away. You're not tired, you're energized. You're not distracted, you have this intense laser-like focus. And you're not just grinding through work, you're actually enjoying the process itself. Now, it's really important to draw a line between flow and something called hyperfocus. They can look similar from the outside, but they're very different. Flow is this beautiful, balanced state where you feel in control. Hyperfocus, on the other hand, can actually be a problem. It can lock you onto one thing so tightly that you neglect everything else, and it's sometimes linked to conditions that affect attention.
Okay, so this flow state sounds pretty awesome, right? The million-dollar question is, how do we get more of it in our lives? Because it doesn't just happen by magic. It turns out there are some very specific conditions you need to create.
So what does it feel like to be in flow? It's that intense concentration where you're not even thinking about what you're doing. You're just doing it. Your inner critic goes quiet, you lose all track of time, hours can feel like minutes, and the work itself is its own reward.
And getting to that feeling really boils down to 3 key conditions. Number 1, you need clear goals. You have to know exactly what you're trying to accomplish. Number 2, you need immediate feedback so you know if you're on the right track. And number 3, and this is the secret sauce, you need a perfect balance between the difficulty of the task and your own skill level. Not so hard that it makes you anxious, but not so easy that you get bored. It's the sweet spot.
All right, let's bring it all home now. We're going to put burnout and flow right next to each other, and I think you're going to see something pretty incredible.
Because here it is, the key insight of this whole thing. The things that cause burnout are the exact mirror opposite of the things that create flow. They are literally 2 sides of the very same coin.
Just look at this. It spells it all out. Burnout is caused by a crushing workload. Flow needs that perfect balance of challenge and skill. Burnout comes from a lack of control. Flow thrives on a sense of personal control. Burnout happens when there's no reward. Flow is its own reward.
A sense of unfairness fuels burnout, while clear feedback is essential for flow. See, it's a perfect inverse relationship.
And that leads us to the single most powerful idea we've talked about. The best way to fight burnout isn't just about managing stress or taking more breaks. It's about actively, intentionally building the conditions for flow into our work. When we chase flow, we're not just being more productive, we're building a powerful, natural shield against burnout.
So I want to leave you with this one last thought. Take a good, honest look at your own work, your own day. Is it accidentally set up as a recipe for burnout? Or could you start, bit by bit, to intentionally design it for flow?